speaking about YouTube, everybody knows who Joe Rogan is. Joe Rogan got a contract with Spotify for $100 million, right? And it's starting to cause ripples and waves. So I briefly wanted to talk with you guys about Joe Rogan deleting 1.8 billion views from YouTube because he's now been paid to switch platforms.
But also in Spotify, there's a lot of people that were threatening to leave Spotify if Joe Rogan stayed with Spotify.
Well, it gets better than that, Jugs. There's people in Spotify that have deleted some of his podcasts because they don't agree with it.
Like it's crazy. But okay, but here's my question is, if you were Joe Rogan and you were making literally millions a year off of your content and you just keep doing it and going, do you waste time thinking about what's got deleted and what people are thinking? Or do you just keep trudging through? This is what they're paying me for. I keep going. I keep doing it. If it lasts, it lasts. If it don't, it don't. F everybody else. Or does he sit there and go, what? 10 million, but what? 20 million. Hey, Jason or whatever. Hey, we got to get on this. We got to get on this. You better call my lawyers and stuff. Or he's just like, whatever.
He don't care.
I completely agree with what you said. The thing is that the little people, the little guys, for lack of a better term, they're always going to feel salty. But business is business, right? The reason a lot of these people liked him on YouTube was because it was quote unquote free, right? You could go there, you could watch the clips. It was convenient. People didn't want to move to another platform, right? It's like all of our parents who are still using Facebook and all of the kids now who are like, what is Facebook? It's like people don't like changing platforms. They don't want to move. If you follow your favorite creator, like let's say your favorite creator is Rohas, and you've been following him for 4 years on YouTube, and all of a sudden Rohas is like, I'm going to Cocoscope. Are you going to follow Rohas to Cocoscope? People don't want to make that decision.
Well, I'm going to because there's boobies on Cocoscope.
I like Cocoscope.
AKA hooker scope. But okay, so maybe you know Next Level, because Joe Rogan is like just like you guys are on several different platforms, not just visual, like not just YouTube. A lot of it he does podcast, just audio, and he films and records and has it for YouTube. Is it part of his Spotify that he can no longer do stuff on YouTube?
You know, I don't know the whole contract. Well, you know what? It was an exclusive deal. His podcast can only be on Spotify.
Podcast, though.
Podcast.
YouTube is not a podcast.
But it's the same content.
Yeah, that's. I'm just wondering.
It's the same content.
Yeah, it's because YouTube was just a free venue. Like he wasn't contracted by YouTube. He just put it out there and monetized or sponsorship or however he does that. So, but it is. You're right. It's the same. It is like Spotify saying we now own your content. You can't go put it somewhere else.
Even if it's not the exact same medium now, it's not to say that next year it's not going to be the same medium, because Netflix this year just came out with an audio only mode, right? You think YouTube down the road is not going to come out with an audio only mode?
Yeah.
Then what? Then everything that's on Spotify and YouTube becomes the same medium.
Well, YouTube has that paid YouTube Red.
Yep.
And you could turn off your phone and it still plays the audio.
Yeah.
So they kind of have something like that already going. And you know, if you want to listen to it, you can. If you want to watch the video, just turn on your phone and then it's still playing.
Yeah.
So YouTube's already kind of going there. The only thing is when you hear YouTube Red, you think of like, well, you know, there's Cobra Kai, there's this movie or TV show, no ads. You get like some very specific things, but people haven't put two and two together where it's just like, dude, you could do just audio by doing the same thing.
Right.
I think if YouTube was smart, they'll probably say, hey, let's do a YouTube audio. So we'll have a YouTube Red and YouTube audio. And there's people that are going to be like, ooh, I could get both. And it's like, oh my, it's the same freaking thing, guys. Come on.
Well, they do have the YouTube Music. Like that is an application, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the thing that was really alarming to me as a content creator was the idea of how much it would hurt to delete 1.8 billion views.
Billion views. I
Like
know.
that, like that's a sucker punch and a half. Like recently when I got my copyright strike or my guideline strike or whatever the heck you want to call it, I had to delete 1.5 million views from my channel. I just decided I'm going to delete a bunch of stuff. I still have a lot more I'm going to delete, but like that was the first time I've really done a purge. And Rojas and I have talked about it. He's done a purge a lot of times, like every year he does a purge. And you know, my 1.5 is nothing compared to 1.8 billion. Like that's literally like, I think that's got to be somewhere along the lines of historic, because a lot of these interviews that Joe Rogan has had the privilege of doing is with some really impactful people in society.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's nobody who, unless they have a grudge or something like that, but nobody has said no to be on Joe Rogan. Like he's had like out of the blue, he said like, "Hey, I was sitting there one day and I'm like, let's get this person on there." Called him up and look, you're here. Thanks for coming. It's like, okay, but can you seriously imagine? It'd be just like the same in the realm of if Howard Stern or somebody, or now on Netflix, someone like David Letterman, like that they're doing those platforms, even though they were famous before and stuff. But if they called you up as a creator and said, "Listen, hey, listen, we want to do an interview of the little guys, the fresh starters, the new in the last few years," I would drop my phone and probably have to run to the bathroom because I'd be like pissing my pants. I'm like, what? I'm going to be on there. Like, you don't say no. So yeah, they're when it comes to the level of influencer, there's not very many that are higher than Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. He's in the realm of YouTube and podcasts.
It's crazy because you mentioned Howard Stern and you're talking about them on the same level. A lot of people don't realize it. They are. And I'm saying that because XM Satellite Radio has just signed $100 million deal with Howard Stern. Like, I didn't even know XM Satellite Radio was still around. I don't even know anybody that uses XM Satellite Radio. Like, how do they still have? I guess a lot of people do. I guess it's really popular in cars or something, but maybe it was a wake up to me. I was like, I didn't even know they had $100 million. Like,